We're Mike and Betsy. I was a teacher, teaching in an inquiry-based charter school, and Mike worked in an office doing administrative work. We had never sailed until 2016. We're from Wisconsin, have been married for 26 years, and have 2 kids, CJ and Ellie. Our first time ever sailing was in Door County on the Edith M. Becker, a 65-foot schooner. After that first sail, we couldn't stop talking and dreaming about owning our own boat someday. We ended up selling our house, cutting our mortgage in half, and soon we took some ASA sailing courses through a liveaboard program at Charleston Sailing School. Soon after, we bought our very own sailboat, a 30-foot Hunter Cherubini, built in 1979, and we started learning what it takes to own and maintain a sailboat. The sailing season in Wisconsin and Michigan is short, just from about May to October. Our ASA instructor told us to get out on the water as much as possible, so for the past 5 years we've been practicing our new sailing skills on Green Bay, right off the coast of Menominee, Michigan. Our son CJ was a COVID graduate. He graduated in 2020 and then joined the Air Force. He's currently stationed in Dover, Delaware, so we're now a sailing team of just 3, Ellie, Mike, and me. Mike and I had planned that we would sell everything and sail after we were retired, about 55 or 60. However, we were able to make our dreams come true sooner rather than later. After teaching for 26 years, I resigned from my teaching position and turned in my key. Everything I kept from teaching fit into one big tub. Then, all in one summer, our son got married. Mike also resigned from his job. We sold our house in a great market. Sold our boat and car. Ellie got confirmed, and we all said goodbye to friends. Newly married, CJ and his wife Elise were able to take our furniture into their new apartment, and we drove everything out to Delaware and put our remaining possessions into a small storage unit. My sister, being the amazing person she is, invited us to stay with her until we found our new sailboat home. Little did she realize that instead of just a few weeks, it would end up being 5 months. Her house in South Carolina was the perfect place to relax after a few stressful months, and then we could search for our sailboat. While we searched for a boat, I also had to learn about homeschooling Ellie, now a 9th grader. And being an elementary teacher, I was a little nervous, but I did my research and planned out her school year. I got a lot of support from fellow homeschooling moms and from the South Carolina Association of Independent Homeschools. Mid-October, Mike and I headed to the Annapolis Sailboat Show. We have never been, and we're excited to see what it would be like. We made the 10-hour trip back up to Delaware to stay with CJ, and then we commuted each day to Annapolis. We got a feel for different sailboats, took a few classes, saw famous sailboats like La Vagabond, and even met our favorite YouTube couple, Kirk and Lauren from Sailing Solianis. After so much downtime, the boat show was what we needed to do some real searching for our new home. We headed down to Georgia for a very promising boat. We stayed at the Riverview Hotel in St. Mary's, right at St. Mary's River, which is the border between Georgia and Florida. It was an old, charming hotel with thematic rooms. We stayed in the Willard Scott room. We had no idea that Willard Scott was the original Ronald McDonald. Aside from this strange artwork, it really was an enjoyable place to stay. The sunrise in the morning over the river was beautiful, and St. Mary's was such a quaint little town. That morning, we were able to see the boat. It checked off just about everything on our list, so we made an offer, and it was accepted. However, later the survey showed water intrusion in the hull, so we were back to square one. Over the next few months, we put on about 2,500 miles just driving up and down the coast, looking at boats in Georgia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, and Rhode Island. The great thing about homeschooling is to be able to take advantage of learning opportunities when they arise. So since we were far up the coast, we decided to stop in Boston to do a historical tour of the Freedom Trail. Ellie will share some of the highlights of the trail.
Boston Common is America's oldest public park. During the 1700s, it was used for a training ground for the colonial militia and for public executions. In 1775, the British would march from Boston Common to Lexington and Concord, which was the beginning of the American Revolution. The Granary Burying Grounds was a graveyard used from 1660 to 1880, and famous people such as Samuel Adams, Robert Tree Payne, John Hancock, and James Otis were buried here. The first public school in America is commemorated by this hopscotch-like mosaic. Benjamin Franklin, John Hancock, and Samuel Adams are among those who studied in the first public school building. In 1776, the Declaration of Independence was proclaimed from the balcony of the old State House. The site of the Boston Massacre is memorialized with a circle of paving stones in front of the balcony. The colonists were very angry because of the random laws the British were making. The British were trying to defend themselves from the furious crowd. It turns out that the Boston Massacre was not really a massacre, but 5 people did die because someone yelled, "Don't fire," but the British soldiers only heard fire. The Old North Church is the place where Paul Revere watched for the lantern signal of 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. On the night of April 18th, 1775, the caretaker of the Old North Church hung 2 lanterns to signal that the British were crossing the Charles River on their way to Lexington and Concord. Bunker Hill was the site of the first major battle of the American Revolution. The monument is 221 feet tall.
While in Boston, we saw a listing for a boat that we thought was going to be the boat. So we made an appointment to view it and went all the way back down near Charleston. So we made the 17-hour trip the following day. We were definitely feeling the low country as we drove along the beautiful road to Bohicket Marina. This boat seemed to have just about everything we needed. Once we set foot on her, it felt like home. We fell in love with the gorgeous cherry wood, the protective cockpit, and just about everything about her. Ironically, the boat had been only a few hours away this whole time. After some negotiating and an accepted offer, we were on our way back to Charleston for the survey and sea trial. The night before the survey and sea trial, we headed into downtown Charleston for a great meal at the Griffin, an award-winning pub with walls papered with dollar bills from customers over the years.
What boat?
Hopefully the boat is ours.
Yeah, we're gonna find out tomorrow.
Hopefully there's nothing wrong with it.
Mike and I even posted our own dollar on the wall in honor of our prospective new boat.
Oh, it's upside down.
It's alright. This is our Rogue fun. We need to write.
It's going on the wall at the Griffin.
Yeah.
Excellent fish and chips.
Here's our Rogue fun. Tomorrow, hopefully, the survey will go well in our boat.
Didn't work. Hopefully that's not a sign.
Exactly. No. We'll try it. Are you ready? We'll try it here. There. Well, no.
That's correct. You gotta go into the mortar right there.
Okay.
That's not gonna stick. I'd go on the wood. Go on the wood.
Okay. Your dollar has so much. I'm gonna do it up and down. Alright, there we go. This is meant to stick.
Yes.
I got it.
One in the middle.
In the middle?
Yeah.
Alright.
There you go.
After quite a few tries, it finally stuck. The day of the survey and sea trial was finally here. It was overcast and rainy, but our surveyors got a good look at the boat and engine and pronounced her in great condition. It was impressive to see her come out of the water. Her rudder is about as tall as I am. She felt solid and sturdy on the sea trial. There's quite a difference between a 30-foot boat and a 45-foot boat. Near the end, we even had a guest appearance by dolphins in the area. One even played near the bow as we headed back into the marina. After finally closing in mid-December, Mike and I went down to our new floating home to start the process of going through everything on board and moving our own things in. We didn't arrive until late at night. We hope you'll join us next time as we have a very cold and loud transition. Celebrate Christmas aboard, try our hand at cooking in a galley, learn new systems, and get used to boat life.